everybody. Welcome to OG Chat. This is Vlad. I'm the owner of Organic Grill. Organic Grill is a vegan restaurant in East Village. We've been there for 20 years. And I'm here with my friend and co-host, Lauren Passell.
Hi,
Lauren, how are you
Vlad.
doing? Guys, welcome to our series Behind Closed Doors, where we talk about our neighbors and friends and check how they're doing. And you all know that our life changed so much, and in each episode we're trying to catch with our good friends. Not everybody is lucky to be next to Lauren like your cat, so we have to get on Zoom. We have to share how we're coping, how we're adjusting to those surreal times. And tonight, guys, I have such a surprise. I have a guest, YURI Foreman. YURI Foreman is an ex-world boxing champion. He's a rabbi. He's our fellow vegan. We love him. He comes to the restaurant often. How you doing, YURI? How are you?
Doing great. I'm very excited to be on your podcast. One of my really happy not accidents, when I met you and been in your restaurants already quite a few times, and always say it's more than a restaurant. It's a community. I mean, it's a very small. The whole restaurant is the size of a rink, you know.
Yeah, and I don't mind
but you're really making it a kind of the most warm-filled, like a amazing place, you know, like a hub of. It's almost spiritual.
And I wouldn't mind being in a ring with you with the social distance, 6 feet. I think I can handle like 10 minutes being on the 6 feet distance. Lauren, I told you so much about YURI, and I'm sure you have a question to ask.
Well, I have a question that I bet you get really sick of answering, and I want to hear you talk about it, because I don't think most people associate religion with boxing. How did you come to those two different life paths, and what are the connections that you see between those two things? That's so interesting to me.
I think it's if you just analyze, just observe boxing full of violence, and then rabbi spirituality, and it's the first I think thought is it's complete opposites of each other.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you really quick. This is coming from someone who knows nothing about boxing, so thank you. But I was a religion major in college, so I know much more about religion and Judaism, but thank you.
Probably know more than me. So, well, one thing is in the spirituality, I think I can speak for Judaism. I think really, in reality, we are human beings. We are all different. We all possess all sorts of varieties of gifts, uniqueness, and all kind of spiritual talents, spiritual physical talents. And Judaism is really Judaism. The whole Judaism, the spiritual Judaism it's pretty much is never to kind of negate, I would say, or cancel your physicality. Rather, Judaism is it's more you are a physical person. You could be a chef, you could be actor, you could be a boxer, you could be a musician, a rock musician. A little bit more than a rock musician, like a heavy metal, like for example John Joseph. You know, and you could be a very spiritual person, you know. So Judaism helped me, actually, I think, and retrospectively now, if I would not find Judaism as on my way of title fight, I would probably have difficulties actually winning the title fight. Judaism kind of got me grounded, so to speak, and be more goal focused, you know, like I developed more of a kind of an internal focus towards my physical goals and my spiritual aspiration.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because I mean, I'm an athlete in other ways, and I think it's more mental than physical almost all the time. Um, can you talk a little bit about, I mean, this was so interesting that Passover like coincided with the very beginning of the pandemic, and, you know, gathering is so important for Passover. And it's just such an interesting coincidence, you know, that once again, you know, for just to do the ritual, you had to come up with a new solution. Like, how did you celebrate Passover?
So it's actually a good question. And also, I think there's no really coincidence. I think something, I think always meant to happen. You know, it's actually interesting fact. I could really point it out to actually Torah, or Old Testament, as some people call it. And the first Passover really happened while people were still in Egypt, you know, before the mass exodus from country, as we call Egypt today. So the first Passover occurred, and it was actually commanded by God. Just told him before the Exodus happened, literally hours before, there was a Passover offering. So every person had to stay home with their families, or if you have family or don't have family, you have to stay in his little hut or home, or I don't know, cave, and eat this Passover offering by themselves. No parties, you know, not like just you and your closest relatives. And then this morning, whatever, the next morning, the Exodus appeared, and I think it was a very kind of I don't know if it's a somber moment, you know, when it was just me, my wife, and my kids. And usually it's always everybody filled with families, friends. And this time was really a time of reflection, really. Time of figuring out, really, here were you actually by yourself and with your family, and reflect on your path, what's going on. Actually reflect on humanity, because it's interesting, because this pandemic targeting not just any kind of differentiates between any kind of a skin color or race or religion. Everybody's the same to this pandemic. And in a way, I thought that it's very symbolic of reflect and be as a humanity, as whole, not divided. I think everybody just need to have once in a while this mass exodus, where we embrace, you know, humanity as a sub, because we're related one way or another to one another. And
I wanted to ask you, Lauren asked you how you embracing religion in this time, and I also would be curious, like I understand how spirituality impact your boxing, but do you see how boxing added to your spirituality? How your knowledge of this martial arts um, affected and impact your studying religion?
Good point. Well, since Lauren, you've been athlete yourself, you're not a stranger to being an athlete or doing any kind of a sports. When you are getting really tired, when you're doing whatever your favorite sport, or, you know, I don't have much favorite sport. Boxing was pretty much the only thing that I used to do. But there's every athlete I know is facing this kind of a moment where the stumbling block, so to speak, where your mind is saying, done, I'm quitting. And it's more than just physical, or it's more than the will. Almost your spiritual, they have a meaning behind it, and you are pushing towards past that stumbling block. And me personally, being a professional athlete, it's helped me to be more, I would say, more approaching the whole religion, more of a kind of a, just like in the gym, you know. It's funny. I'm just giving you an example. When you coming to the gym for the first time, for example, if you're a boxer, you want to be a boxer. First day they're teaching you a boxing stance, and there's a jab, there's whatever the 1-2 combination on how you're keeping your balance. Is it off the balance or where your balance is, and every little intricate move you have to catch at some point. Religion is the same thing. Religion or meditation is the same. It's something you controlling your spiritual self. You're trying to have this kind of an inner focus. That's when meditation, for example, so hot right now. But it's always been hot. Meditation is cool because something that when you meditate, you're trying to control your muscles. You're almost like your third eye, or trying to do so kind of a combinations while in meditation, trying to control your brain, and the athletes is doing the same thing. Why some athletes are so much better than others, for example, when the champions rising to occasion way more than just contenders, because something in their mind is completely different. They think a little bit different than average contender, I would say. So I think boxing really helped me to be a better Jew, and hopefully a better human, because a lot of athletes in general just very humble people, because they're not maybe spiritual, but I met hockey players, I met UFC fighters, and they're so humble people. It's fascinating. They go into the ring or octagon and they literally killing some other person, and yet when they lose or win, they're very down to earth people. So.
And Yuri, you open up for me personally like a whole new dimensions that I didn't know about. I was involved in a couple of caterings that were organized by Jewish organization, and to my being absolutely unaware of certain things, I kind of assumed that within religious people there are just group of people who happen to be vegan, and they want to celebrate together. And when I spoke to you about it, you highlighted completely different picture for me. You explained that there are some basic foundation of veganism in Torah that I would never heard of. So it would be great for me and Lauren and probably our audience to know a few things about it.
Well, the vegan word, I think it's relatively probably modern word, or recent. I don't know how old is the word vegan itself, but it's funny because my kids came last week, and this week I decided, you know what? Let's study a little bit. I'm going to read you a couple of chapters from Book of Genesis, and it's very clear cut. When the humanity or Adam and Eve been created and been expelled from Garden of Eden. God told them, you're going to rule the earth, you're going to rule over the animals and everything, and the animals that you can eat, you can eat any kind of vegetations. That's it, done. There's no animals, there's no meat, there's no nothing, there's no dairy. And also there's a lot of Kabbalists and a lot of spiritual people in Judaism, and they've been known to be vegetarians and vegan people. Before the word vegan appeared, they were called them like vegetarians. The vegetarians used to be more than that, being really vegan, and they some of them even commented that, and they have very respected books, and every Jew know those books. They're saying that if you want to achieve a spiritual enlightenment, you need to release yourself from the heaviness of food, you know, and they always had food like a just vegan. I would say, I cannot say salads. I don't know what they was eating, but I believe also. I think that if you want to achieve some kind of a spiritual enlightenment, you have to be clean. You know, you should have a cleaner vessel, because our bodies as some sort of a antenna, you know, that we are, and our head is on top of this antenna, you know. so you want to keep this antenna in good shape. I think meat is. I give you, for example, maybe it'd be easier to understand. In Judaism kosher laws, in Jewish kosher laws, you're not allowed to mix meat and dairy together. You know, you have to have if you ate meat, for example, you have about six hours. You have to wait till you're gonna have some kind of any kind of a food that's made out of dairy. And one of this Kabbalists 500 years ago, he said that one of the spiritual reason that we're separating those two food is because meat is the energy of death and milk is the energy of life. So we're not mixing death and life together. So we need the separation. So in the end, when I read that, I realized that why do I need energy of death to begin with? You know, it's not going to give me kind of an energy that, you know, gives me not a good energy. And it's a kind of going so deep in it that I don't even have any kind of a cravings or towards, even when I became vegan, I never really had, I'll be like, it would be nice to have some burger or something. Like, yeah. Once you realize that something that is not meant to be consumed, you don't have no problem.
Yep, I think Vlad and I both wholeheartedly agree. You put it very well. We only have like a minute or two left. So, and you know, this is a very strange time. Can you share with us like a bright moment maybe that you've had with your kids, or can you leave us out on a high note or something that made you laugh or smile recently?
Well, my kids, I have three boys, 9, 7, and 3. And they behave sometimes like a pain in the, my goodness, in one place, you know. You're thinking stepping on your cat's foot and your cat's tail would upset you. You know, they walking on me, everything. If I would have tail, I would be stepped on every single time. But in the same time, they're keeping me grounded. You know what? We lost so many people in New York City just alone. One Facebook one morning, like I just opened Facebook and I don't know how many times I just wrote one morning, may his rest in peace and may his memory be for a blessing, or etc. But I think there's also a big lesson in this whole pandemic. Some of us are very vulnerable for this pandemic, and I don't know nothing about coronavirus, what it is, came from, or it's already a conspiracy theorist, their job to do it. But one thing I noticed, people who don't have immune system, people who have a lot of meat or unbalanced diet, those are the ones who are getting affected by it dramatically. You know, I think we are, this whole saying, you are what you eat, it's really, I think, it's more than just a nice saying or to saying something to relate to. I think it's very serious. I think this is a ultimate truth. What you put in your body, this is what you, in the end, what you sow, what you reap, right? No, what you reap, what you sow. What's the?
What you sow.
What?
I think it's you reap what you sow.
Okay, all right. So
it must be the other way around too. So
I think it is what I mean. Yeah, that's true. So it's important. It's important what we eat, and I think we are getting there. I think hopefully very soon we will I hope really soon Vlad gonna reopen his business. Every single business out there is suffering, small business especially, and hopefully we can come together and help our friend Vlad and alike, you know.
I think it's important for us to kind of understand that we just made for each other, and we are here to support each other and become more independent from other outside sources for help, that we can rely on each other. Guys, I'd like to thank you. Yuri, thank you very much for finding time doing it with us. Hopefully we'll have your wonderful wife Shoshana next time. Shoshana is a plastic surgeon and she just had an emergency call. So while all of us are enjoying this conversation,
I'm sitting here, you know.
She's definitely doing real work. So thank you for sharing experience. Please check our episodes, guys, for OG Chat and OG Talk. We are on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeart, and if you have a moment to subscribe, rate and like us would be great. We need your support. If you like the episodes, please share it with your friends. And thank you very much for my wonderful co-host Lauren. I know you have to make up to your cat right now, so you have a mission.
Oh man, we're in some moves from Yuri. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And have a good day. Stay healthy. Oh, okay, then let me knock you out. Stay healthy and safe. Thank you very much, everybody.